We'll see if JusTus tries to switch things up as we get into P's and B's for this one. Do we see the Hades ban? Do we see an Apollo ban? Do we see some sort of crazy ban coming out? I mean, do we see bans at all? That's the real question.
That's a very good question. Hades versus Chak, though, in that lane, it was fine. I mean, Covertactician did what he needed to. He lost his tower early, though, because of the pressure that comes out from the Hades for the most part early on, and Chak up against it a little bit.
You know, that was really cool. It's the first time I've ever seen the graphic sort of deploy. I enjoyed
that.
Yeah.
It's like a deployable. It's like a Vulcan turret.
I knew you were going to say the Vulcan turret.
Well, it's one of the only deployables you can think of, apart from wards.
Cats.
Cats are not deployables.
Pets don't count as deployables? You don't deploy your pets?
I've never deployed my pet. Have you deployed your pets?
Yes.
I'm going to report you. I was going to say, I'm going to report you to the authorities, but I'm like, I don't even know what authority it is over here. I only know the European ones. I'll be ringing up Europe going, could you mind? There's a dude in America here that deploys his cats.
And they're just sitting there drinking their tea and not understanding.
We don't always drink tea.
That's true.
Picks Batz though, kept preset, kept banned out, Giannis banned out, some Wukong, I'm going to guess, and I was just saying it as
there it
came through.
Yep, nope. I'll give you that one.
Just in time.
Hades not banned out, so JusTus think that they can handle the LeMoGoW Hades.
The Neith didn't work last time for me.
It definitely didn't.
Didn't work, and that's why I think we see a switch up here. Let's give Sanjo something that I think he's performed on best so far this season. Give him that Thor. LeFales and Sanjo, for me, are equally skilled opposition to each other. Those both been around in the pro area for the most part, at least in Challenger Cup, couple of flights into the SPL. Those two are about the same sort of skill level from my eyes.
Maybe.
And with that, you can also see that Thor is probably going to be a contentious pick between them.
You know, I really like LeFales, honestly. I think that LeFales has an upside. I think that we might see LeFales on a higher-seeded team.
He's called Fails. You can't give him too much credit. that just means Fails is a negative name.
On a serious note, I think that LeFales has been sort of... He came onto the team late, but do you remember that first game that LeFales had when he came on the team? And he's had sort of the similar repeated processes. So
you say that, but Sanjo came on the team and brought out Hebo, and you were all happy and excited about that. Did you forget about Hebo?
No, I just like the Hebo jungle. Shoutouts to Lionheart. Team JusTus still going to follow up with Neith, though.
And the Bacchus this time. Notice how JusTus banned that one out last time, and Myrmidons like, I want it this game. Dardez wants this.
This Neith. I do not think it worked. I don't think that Fexez made it work in lane. I don't think that Fexez made it work in other lanes with the ultimates. I just didn't see enough out of it. JusTus, however, think that was a one-shot problem.
No, I think the reason it was a one-shot problem is because they didn't have much gank potential. The Fenrir and a Neith combo together, not as strong as a Thor Neith combo together ganking a lane. That's the difference. Fenrir coming in is a little bit of a situational thing where it won't work, but Thor's a lot stronger to combine with that.
Very important to not look at characters in a vacuum and instead when it comes to the entirety of the roster. Especially if you're looking at tier lists or looking to make your own, that's a very important thing to realize. The relative strength is really what's important in Smite. It's not about individuals. It's about the 5-player roster. And speaking of that, Myrmidons think that Jing Qian is something that'll fit into the 5-player roster of JusTus. Whether or not they know something about JusTus that we don't, that is the first time we've seen this character banned.
I'm not too interested in Jing Qian. I mean, Qiwen's played it once or twice. I know of it, but I'll supposedly practice it. My more interesting thing is the Ullr pick to match the Neith. That's my one, because that should be a fun little matchup between those two in the mid lane now. We're going to have double Hunter in mid lane, more than likely, and then we're going to be seeing Freya up against the Apollo is what I expect to see. Or, what may happen, Apollo could swing mid, and Ullr versus Freya is a better matchup for Ullr than it is for an Apollo.
So how come, I'm just going to ask you flat out the question, how come Europe didn't let go of the Hunters mid? It was a very exciting idea when sort of Heartseeker was around and all sorts of different things, but the game has largely moved on, and North American teams have largely just left that behind. We still see Lobster on Paradigm. We still see Zeros on Fnatic. We still see Myrmidons and JusTus picking up Hunters.
Hold on a second. Think about how the meta has changed through this split. The start of the split was when we saw the end of the Hunters in mid lane from both regions.
Right.
However, Bluestone. Bluestone. The rise of Bluestone has brought these Hunters into the mid lane again. And the fast wave clear and fast rotations being so important to junglers and the mid laners be able to rotate around the map is why we see these mid laners coming online as Hunters again. Bluestone is the reason, and it shows in the builds.
Tynz is going to be playing on that Ullr. Bluestone will help him clear out the wave a little bit, and he's going to go into that Morningstar, so expect the Transcendence as well. Neith sporting a slightly different build. She's going to go boots first. So
I don't think this is a thing between North America EU divide, because what we normally see out of both regions, and this is why I'm loving the super regionals coming up, because we'll bring the amalgamation of both the sets of regions together, where one thing that EU focused on to begin with these meta changes that keep coming through. It's like, Hunter's mid again. It's viable. And then NA will be like, well, we've actually been looking at a different strategy of bringing back Odin. 667. Yeah, Odin coming back as well, and more healers. Notice how there's not as many healing comps in
then Envy puts Kiki on Athena mid and throws every region for a loop.
Went a lot of healers just lately. We don't see as much out of EV in healer-wise, but we do see Hunters going mid. So when those two meet, one team will win and they'll be like, that's a good point, those healers are pretty strong. Or it'll be the other way around of like, that's a really good point. Hunters in mid again, let's do it.
Yeah, it's two very different exciting takes on the same game. We'll see a solo Sobek on Covertactician. Jungle Sanjo will be on the Bellona. So not the Thor. Qiwen's going to be playing another aggressive support in the Thor support. And this is a character that in Europe specifically has been recently rising to prominence in the support role. And it's something that, similar to Neith mid, I've always really enjoyed.
Nice aggression from Tynz in the mid lane, though. If the axe would have landed, Fexez could have potentially died there. And Ullr has the kill potential on a Neith early on, especially in this stage.
And that right there, that's why I think Fexez opted for boots instead of a different start, maybe, because a lot of what Fexez is going to be dealing with here, trying to stay alive, is dodging not just the axe, but the combos of the Ullr. He's going to be throwing out the bladed arrows and the hail of arrows and the axes. Fexez has to avoid all of these situations, so got to be quick on the feet.
Tynz's build here was all about trying to get an early kill. That's why we have to hold out that focus. Qiwen's under pressure, which I expected consistently in this lane.
Yeah, Dardez is built to go right into the middle of the wave. He's got the mark of the Vanguard, and he's just ready to go ahead and bang. Tons of potions as well to heal him up after he takes that aggression.
On the right-hand side, though, for these back harpies here. Bit of caught out of position at the moment is LeFales. He's going to jump away using the monkey to get out of a situation, but that puts Tynz in an awkward spot, but he jumps away too. Doesn't like Sanjo wants to give up just yet, though.
Quick moves out of the jungler. Love that play. And JusTus, they're going to turn around, but here comes LeMoGoW. Sanjo in some trouble.
Sanjo got baited into a bad spot there. He will get away for now. But the rotation from Myrmidons, very, very quick. Very quick. And that's the experience level of the Myrmidons solo laner there, up against the inexperience of the substitute there on that rotation coming in. That could have been a potential disaster zone for JusTus there. Luckily, they get away.
LeFales clearing the wave here. Pretty standard jungle mid meetup.
And going back to mid lane again with the Tynz, his original build at the start of this, he went to rush the Transcendence, but by doing that, it's showing that he's looking for kill potential.
Of course.
Because he's not got many mana potions, he wastes a lot early on. If he tries to clear the wave and keep the push power on, he's going to run out of mana quickly. So if he doesn't find the kill, he has to take quicker trips back to base, as we can see here, and go for Transcendence rank 2 so he can get the mana regen coming.
And Tynz is actually continuing to buy mana potions. He went to base with 1, he now has 2. So Tynz still buying the mana pots even throughout the game.
And you have to, because his kill potential, rotational potential, a mid laner can't necessarily run out of mana too early, because you're the one that should be farming the mid lane, keeping the pressure on the mid lane, and then doing the rotations. Neith, a little bit safer on the mana usage for the most part, but Fexez, obviously in this one, did start with multiple mana and health potions. He's out 2 now. Just keep an eye on those, because once the mana potions start running out, then it's about who positions better and farms better.
LeFales making a move here, blinking in, throwing down the ultimate, but followed up by Sanjo is also going to jump over the top. Fexez gets the first kill on the Neith. And LeFales, he made the initiation, but followed up quickly by Sanjo, and that opens the door
mid lane.
for the
Fexez is in a lot of trouble. Will he get away from that? It looks like he will. Just
fine.
About what happened there. Fexez got the kill, the first blood, over in that duo lane with his rotation, but Tynz tried to punish him.
Exactly. Neith, when she's doing the ultimate, obviously has to stand still for a lot of players. That's obviously what's known, but the opportunity was grabbed by Tynz. Long range hail of arrows and the bladed arrow to follow up. Just needed a little bit more damage. Later on, that'll be a kill.
And that's why the Ullr in the mid lane is a good matchup against the Neith, for the reason being that when she stands still to Willweaver, a lot of mages for the most part don't have a way to gap close very, very quickly. So you can see that on the flanks of Ullr, and then immediately can follow with an axe, full burst combo, potentially pick up a kill in response to the Willweaver.
Mid Harpies up one more time. Right side go to Myrmidons. Left side just spawned. We'll see who makes the move over there, but right now Myrmidons have the numbers advantage in the mid lane. Fexez going to shade over here on the left side, But as I said, he's got to be careful. There's 3 players here. Him and Qiwen might not be enough to secure
Sanjo's
these.
Going to turn up for this as well, so it'll be a 3v3, but they're looking for Qiwen, and Qwen's in a lot of trouble already.
Smoked.
Absolutely deleted off the map.
And that's the damage that Ullr's going to bring almost every single time. He just has so much damage by way of his combination, and follow that up with a Bacchus belly flop so you can't get out. It's a tough situation to be in.
Oh, that was close. LeMoGoW nearly pulled in Fexez all the way into that.
Yeah, it was close, but close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, so safe and sound is Tynz.
How does it count in horseshoes?
If you get it close to the stick, you still get points. It doesn't have to go directly
and how's
around
it close in hand grenades?
Well, you don't have to get hit in the head by a grenade.
Well, nobody needs to get hit in there with a grenade. That doesn't make sense.
That's the point.
Oh, okay. I don't get these
all right. I'll break it down for you, Hindu man. So close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. If you have a bow and arrow, for example, close doesn't matter. That Hades ult doesn't matter because it's just close, but nothing happened because it still misses. Hand grenades and horseshoes, you can both not get a direct hit and still make waves.
I didn't realize you played games with horseshoes and hand grenades. That's
not
the
the same
thing.
Oh
You Americans are weird, man. You Americans are weird.
What do you think the 4th of July is?
A fireworks display? That's pretty much what it felt like anyway when I was over here. But game's currently paused between Myrmidons and JusTus. Myrmidons, they still need a win here. They still need a win. They have
2-0.
Every single game they have left this season.
2-0 keeps their playoff dreams alive. Myrmidons, if they win 2-0 here, they don't go to land, but they also have to beat Dignitas.
I tell you what, that game against Dignitas next week is going to be the spiciest EU game in history.
That's going to be...
Because Dignitas just need to win 1. But if Myrmidons can win the first 2, they do a tiebreaker and do it all over again.
Really?
Yes. So Dignitas right now, Dignitas are watching this game with bated breath going, please, JusTus, do me a solid here and just put the Frenchies to bed.
And that's why we have roster locks, because if this wasn't, if roster locks weren't in place, I think we might have seen a Shadow Nightmare play for JusTus this week.
Just 1 week, like, yo, boys, I'm just going to jump on here and help you out just for this 1 week. Just pipical cooking, okay? Yeah? Okay, all good. Let's make it happen. So JusTus are out of the Pro League right now. I don't think they're going to be able to make higher than 8th seed again this split, unfortunately. But Myrmidons, they have a gauntlet to run, and it'll be against Dignitas if they can find a win here, first of all.
Covertactician tries to find the charge prey, just barely off the mark, but doesn't get punished for it too much. Junglers now joining their solo laners here for the first time. 5.5 through the second game. 1-1 both on the scoreboard for each team.
It is pretty even so far. Keep it on the rotation coming out from Qiwen in the jungle, though. Qiwen is on the way over. It does look he's ulted, but I think the boys at Myrmidons are well aware of it, and that's why they backed off immediately.
So many members of Myrmidons coming away from that duo lane. Jermain's even going to team up with Dardez to clear the back heartbeats.
I was really confused by that because I was trying to keep an eye on Qiwen in the jungle. I was like, oh, he's portraying the left, he's in the wrong spot. No, he's not. He's the damn support, and he's playing Thor. It's so confusing when you see Sanjo on that Bellona, and it's not that way around, so...
Might be some trouble for the Freya. Dardez is going to find himself around, but we'll take a look at solo lane real quick. Sanjo's dash doesn't get out of LeMoGoW's ult, and that's fine. Freya goes up in the air, looking for a follow-up. Is Myrmidons. Help from Fexez. Jermain's going to go in the air to avoid the stun. He'll take a lot of damage, though, and he'll be forced out because of that. Looks enlarged that NBK will be fine. Stun is not enough. Not enough damage coming out of that Bacchus.
Good play from VoteNBK 2v1. Fexez did support from the mid lane, which forced the situation in the hand of Myrmidons to make sure Jermain rotates out.
That's why you're never quite alone when there's a Neith on the map with the ultimate up. I mean, that
the bait was cool from them, but they've not got any follow-up. Oh, I love that little situation there. Tynz is going to get punished a little bit with AoE.
Maybe
it gets worse. The bait was beautiful. Just stand behind the corner. Hi, I'm Neith. I'll walk around all alone. My buddy's right behind me. That was nice. That was a really nice little play. That shows that Tynz has been trying to do that multiple times through that angle, and he's probably had it warded multiple times, and he knows the rotation. This time, though, JusTus punish him for it. Nice play.
Right side also getting aggressed on, well, just by the minions, but the tower's down to about half HP. So again, sort of the same situation. LeMoGoW really pushing out the solo lane.
It's Sobek versus Hades. Right. Wave clear wise, which Sobek's got no chance.
Which is interesting because we saw Hades versus Chalk, and Chalk is a very good lane clearer. That was in game number 1, and Chalk has fantastic lane clear, but was still forced on the tower, especially early. So JusTus's solo lane has a problem doing that, and then opts to go Sobek.
He opts to go Sobek, but it's probably because he feels a little bit safer on it, I guess. It's a bit more situational for the team fights. He could be a bit more effective, maybe, than he could be with the Chak. That's maybe what he's looking for here for the most part.
Beautiful stun, gonna catch the dash out of Jermain, and this time the ultimate's not quick enough. He'll fall down to NBK. Thor's still in the air.
He's got a dunk in. He's
He's
got a
at some
dunk in to support.
point, but he misses. He misses the Bacchus at least, but he lands on the monkey, so miss might be relative. FaZe picks up a kill. Qiwen picks up FaZe, and Qiwen falls down. Dardez, the remaining one here for Myrmidons, but 2 players of JusTus show up.
He's got flop up in 1 second. They can continue the aggression. They're going to try and get the backflip out of Fexez first, and there's the follow-up from Dardez, continue to pin him down. Sanjo, though, was very busy on the backside, keeping Tynz from getting any more aggression onto the Hunter, but now we may see a bit more fight.
Interesting choice by Sanjo there.
Hang on, Fexez is in a lot of trouble here. Belly flops up again
Tynz
soon.
is still here.
Backflip is available as well, but that Spirit Arrow was huge, and now the bludgeon, no! Backflip saves the day.
So the ultimate out of Sanjo, I think this is going to end.
No,
Jermain's going to land down on Fexez.
It's the fight that goes on and on, my friend.
The fight that never ends. Myrmidons and JusTus, so aggressive.
Axe.
Stunned out long way.
Oh, he missed! He missed the rain of arrows!
That's the second time I've seen Hail of Arrows miss, unfortunately. That is not a good look for Tynz. One of the things that makes Ullr so specific, Ullr is so high. You gotta be mechanical.
You just gotta land your skills after. You don't have to speed around the bush.
Sure,
He missed.
You gotta land your stuff, but that's the thing. Sometimes characters,
You gotta land the stuff after the stuff.
no. Sometimes there's sort of leeway or wiggle room when it comes to missing your abilities, and when it comes to Ullr, it's so unforgiving.
When it comes to a standing still target, it's unforgiving. Or at least in the community's eyes and the character's eyes too. It's unforgivable. 4-3 though, JusTus are keeping themselves in this one. I'm glad they didn't just roll over and die though.
Sure.
I'm really pleased about JusTus about that. Shout outs to them for that.
You know, one of the most interesting things about that exchange was Sanjo's decision to use Eagle's rally defensively. So Sanjo jumped on top of his player instead of the opponent to get a stun. But what that did was it gave extra protections to his teammate in case they got aggressed on. It's a questionable decision. I'm not exactly highlighting it because I think it's a fantastic decision. I think it's an interesting way because we don't see that much.
Jermain, goodbye, sweet prince. Goodbye. Didn't last long with 3 ultimates coming in, but look at what happened in mid lane. They're trying to abuse it. That was a great ultimate from Sanjo, though, that'll save him.
Perfectly timed.
Just in time, but hang on, Dardez. No, you didn't see him. Oh, I thought he was going to go right back. If you would have seen him in the back harpies there, that'd have been the assassin.
LeMoGoW coming from the backside,
drunk assassin.
Mid lane, dash forward, lifted up in the air before the silence could come out. Triple Bacchus comes out of Dardez, and there's the Pillar of Agony. One falls down. Covertactician saves himself with the ultimate out of Sobek. And now Dardez all alone as Covertactician has to find himself underneath the tower. All right, Fexez going to flip as well. Qiwen, he can't follow the hammer if he's dead. Jermain puts him in the ground.
And Myrmidons are winning every single team fight, and that's what happened in game 1 here. They're coming out on top of the team fights overall.
Still no objective.
Well, let's check experience in gold here, because they're going to swing for the Gold Fury anyway. But the whole game, experience has been completely in Myrmidons' favor. Gold's been bouncing around here, there, and everywhere. But it's the boys that Myrmidons that keep coming out on top.
That time, Hail of Arrows didn't miss, and that's going to put Fexez down to about 20% HP. So he's not very willing to get too aggressive now. LeMoGoW still here in the mid lane, just going to clear out.
They don't find enough objectives or force enough issues after they get a win. It's just one of those cases that both these teams need to look at that in the dressing room behind the scenes afterwards and go, all right, let's see what's going on. I called it a dressing room. Then I'm like, none of these players are dressed.
I was going to say dressing room.
None of these players have dressing rooms A and B. None of them are dressed. They're all at PCs with just boxes on.
Maybe a green room. Let's say green room, maybe.
Do you reckon they've got a green room?
I mean, it depends on where they play.
I guess.
At LAN, we usually have a green. At LAN, we usually have a green room, just sort of a player's lounge.
You talk about LAN, but only one of these teams has a shot at it right now.
Exactly.
Myrmidons.
Myrmidons still trying to keep that alive.
Oh, the focus on Jermain is unreal.
So much trouble.
Jermain, just set the tower, buddy. Just set the tower.
NBK gets another kill, and this is all a part of the plan from JusTus.
I was going to say, can I bring that back to what you said to me at the start when you mentioned the Neith at joint picks and Batz? You were like, it didn't work last time. Why are we running it? I'm like, well, the Thor's the impact, and look what's happened. Every single time, Thor ult is up, Neith ult is up, and goodbye, Jermain.
I mean, it's not even just the Thor ult. We're just seeing a better performance performance, a better use of these ultimates out of Fexez. I think that, I mean, Fexez is an accomplished player in his own right. He's probably the player for JusTus with the most superlatives when it comes to the Pro League. He saw relative success on Mortality a couple of splits or seasons ago. He's seen it before. He's been there.
He's seen it before, but he's been quieter than I would have expected this season.
Right.
He's not got off as much as I would have liked him to. His Challenger Cup performances were absolutely outstanding. Some of those plays that he did in Challenger Cup were great, but stepping into the big boy leagues once again, he's not hit the stride that I expected him to. He's had pretty good performances, but just not as much as I was hoping for from him. My
point being, though, in Game 1, I just didn't see anything that I particularly liked out of Fexez. I felt like the Neith pick was almost wasted because we just didn't see the ultimates come out that were really effective. We saw a handful, but not enough. I think we've seen just as many impactful Neith ults in 13 minutes here than we did in the entirety of last game.
That's true, but one good ultimate can win a game outright. It's a bit too early for that just yet, though, but to be fair, Myrmidons last game, they won one team fight, and that was the end of it. Oh, that
stun for stun. Tynz, though, he's the one that's taking more of the problem, and Sanjo shows up with another one over the top, finishes off Tynz with a basic. Tynz now surrounded by 3 members of Myrmidons, while Fexez sits under the tower, but that's enough threat for JusTus. And Myrmidons respect it, and they'll fall back.
It was a good action, Tynz, but then he just sat and got deleted slowly but surely. Got hit by a Spirit Arrow, got hit by a double tap on the wall, and then when he was like, okay, I'm free of all that CC.
Sanjo showed up.
Sanjo jumped on my head with the Eagles Rally, and that was it. If you notice, I believe he had beads then, he just didn't have time to react to it because he didn't think he was going to die was the issue.
JusTus now looking to concentrate their efforts.
They have to go for you here right now. Covertactician's rotated all the way over from solo lane. LeMoGoW is still there, doesn't have teleport, and he will get that tower for free.
Questionable choice to go for the Gold Fury with Dardez still here. Smart zoning coming out of JusTus. If they can keep Dardez and the monkey away. Fails, though. Fails here. That's a problem. Both of these characters are problematic when it comes to these objectives. Here comes Fails. Down goes the ultimate. Now all of a sudden, Myrmidons are in control of the Gold Fury. JusTus still picking up anyway. Qiwen takes out Fails. 5 members of JusTus here ready to wreak havoc. Tynz is already dead. He just got here. LeMoGoW grabs 2 in the ultimate. Is it enough?
It should be, but LeMoGoW's going to get bursted down. Does manage to leap away and pick up the kill on VoteNBK with that in hand. Meanwhile, though, on the backside, Dardez in trouble, has to blink, barely flop away, but immediately the combo once again from Sanjo and Fexez combining to pick up Jermain. JusTus come out on top massively in that fight. Their gamble paid off big there.
Show me the graphs, please. Let's see how well that paid off. Boom! Up goes JusTus. As I said, it was a questionable decision. It all rode on how well JusTus would have been able to zone out. P.S. Covertactician just picked up a kill himself.
I mean, we got excited by that, and I know he's only 1,000 gold lead and 1,000 experience lead, but what did they get? They sacrificed a tier 1 tower and went, guys, we've got to try and make something happen. Come over, Covertactician on this Sobek. Let's go for the Gold Fury. Risky as hell. Risky as hell. But then they won the fight as well.
It was a questionable decision that all rode on the fact, and this is what's interesting to me. It was risky, and it rode on the fact of how well JusTus could zone and or kill the threat that made it past their zone, right? So you know what that showed me? How much faith that JusTus has in their own team. They go, okay, you have a Bacchus. Intoxicate belly flop is one of the better ways to steal objectives, always has been. A Fear No Evil, that's going to send your team packing and completely transition priority to Myrmidons. Both of these characters are right there and ready to go. So they zone out Dardez well enough. Fails makes it through, and they respond correctly enough to take him down.
And the funny thing is right now as well, the one team, you mentioned faith there, there's one team out there that's got faith in JusTus right now, and that's Dignitas. So like, please, boys, come on, just keep this going a little bit longer. Big banish once again for VoteNBK, good poke, Dardez, not going to follow up and put aggression on, because he realizes Thor could be dunking down any second. You can see exactly where the boy Qiwen was. Here we go again, oopsie daisy.
Qiwen thinking about it, Qiwen employing it. 2 people going to be landed on by the Thor. Here comes Fails from the backside to change things around for JusTus, but it happens after Jermain falls. JusTus gets exactly what they came for.
Didn't change anything. The Fear No Evil missed, and now Dardez is under pressure as well. He has to use Intoxicate defensively, but can't get away. Fear No Evil already down, and now it looks like the boy Fails will fall down too. LeMoGoW is here with Tynz, though. Can these two try and turn this fight back into Myrmidons' favour? The Frenchmen have come and got a double kill for Tynz, but reinforcements for JusTus have arrived.
It's just Tynz now. Before the kills were all Tynz, and now the deaths look like to be all Tynz, but he'll find an escape. JusTus still chasing.
Bit
They
deep.
think better of it. They're behind a tower already, so JusTus going to turn around and look towards the tier 1.
Yeah, but there's no minions there for a little while as well, so Tynz could potentially defend this one, which is a good sign for the boys of Myrmidons.
Here's
it was
the
a
wave.
crazy fight backwards and forwards. Maybe they give him a tier 1, it's still okay. It's not as bad as it could have been. Could have been so much worse if Tynz would have died there as well.
Could have been. Covert looking for the flip. Can't quite find it in that sea of minions. JusTus will take the tower and walk directly away as 2 members of Myrmidons, Tynz included, comes right down the lane.
They're going to look at this though. What they should be doing is pushing them back. That's why Tynz and Dardez are continuing chasing, because Jermain managed to put pressure on the mid lane.
Right.
It's a shame he didn't keep going with that, because the boy Qiwen did turn back up to defend that wave. Otherwise, he could have potentially got a tier 1 tower by keep forcing them from being able to back.
Jermain and Dardez going to go ahead and pick up a back camp one more time. 18.5 in, folks. Game number 2. Everything that Myrmidons have been fighting for this entire split rides on, in part, this game. Myrmidons want to make it to LAN, and if they lose here, that plan
It's over.
dies. But if they go ahead and win, like we've said so many times, they take on Dignitas.
And Dignitas, it's basically a best of 3 that isn't a best of 3 because Myrmidons have to win every single game to go to LAN. Dignitas win 1 in 3 games against them if they can win here, and it's done. But at the moment, JusTus are an opposition that they're having difficulty with in this game too. Big difficulty.
Hasn't been easy. It really has not been easy for JusTus. And that is interesting because, so Myrmidons stack up decently against Dignitas, but Dignitas routinely wind up on top of that matchup. So so it's just an interesting way to see the relative strength of these 2 teams, or these 3 teams.
Slow down a little bit in pace as well after the last couple of engagements. With the Gold Fury being down and some of the towers too, it just slows everything down a tad just because, but nobody's going to really get picked off. Jermain's starting to play a little bit more defensive now. He's not got no tower there. On top of it, he's been ganked hundreds of thousands of times over in that duo lane.
Which is a smart, calculated decision coming out of JusTus. As we said, LeMoGoW played well enough in game number 1, but it really was the combination. I mean, Jermain was our player of the game, right? So having that combination.
Here's an interesting point: is they've sent Jermain over to the duo lane right now, so to the solo lane, and put LeMoGoW in the duo lane instead. They've switched it up because Jermain's behind 1 and 5, being focused. Let him split push, catch up on farm. It's only a Sobek. It's hard to get picked by a Sobek 1v1. Meanwhile, LeMoGoW can make an influence on this side of the map. He's level 18, remember, which is above everybody apart from VoteNBK on this other side.
VoteNBK is going to go ahead and start the gold tree, and JusTus going to try and
what's
repeat
happening?
the process that they did last time.
What's Jermain up to? Free farming.
Exactly. If Myrmidons keep this situation under control, JusTus right now going for a free Gold Fury.
No one's got teleport. No one's got teleport right now. So that tier 2 tower falls for
Jermain
free.
not pushing for it, though.
He doesn't need to just yet. What he can do is steal buffs in the jungle. He's after experience of gold more than anything else, right?
Right.
A Phoenix is the dream.
Of
okay?
course.
Phoenix is the dream, but let's catch back up on experience and gold. Look at the level distance.
He's over 1,000 gold behind his direct opposition, and the enemy team, as far as that's concerned, the enemy team, look at that. JusTus has a 3,000 gold lead. A whole 1,000 is on NBK himself over Jermain.
And that's the big key, is that last game we saw MVP go over to Jermain. They want him back ready for this game again. They need him to be able to continue this game onwards, because otherwise VoteNBK is going to go out of control. He's got to deal with Fexez and VoteNBK. You can't rely just on Tynz for that. Tynz isn't classed as a hyper carry for the most part. Apollo, to an extent, could be, just not the same scale as someone like Freya. So those 2 hunters really need to both get online.
LeMoGoW getting aggressed on by the gang squad that JusTus had hidden behind that rock. He's able to dash away and a backflip out of fails, or a jump out of fails. We'll make sure that those 2 members of Myrmidons are pretty safe and sound.
Jermain's now off the other side of the map, farming up, trying to get experience and gold.
And this is really what the Apollo in large. I mean, it's not why you pick an Apollo, but it's definitely a part of what Apollo brings to a team, is his ability to just, all right, there's a tower that needs to be taken. You guys do that. I'll split push because of his eject button.
And VoteNBK being over there means that JusTus though might be looking to put pressure onto Fails, who's in a lot of trouble. Fido Evil goes off as well. There's the Eagles rally, but it doesn't actually connect. He's going to try and pick up Fails under the tower, which they do. Covertactician will pick that one up as well. Meanwhile, Dardez in the backside. Big belly flop onto Fexez will bring him down, but Jermain has arrived.
Jermain joins the party, lands on Sanjo, quickly turns his sights onto Covertactician, who tail whips and charge prays away. Axe is going to be off the mark from Tynz, but still, the basics, so beautifuls, and the abilities come out. Tynz lands a last basic to claim the life of Covertactician. Myrmidons show up in numbers to take out the JusTus aggressive force showing up on the right side.
And Myrmidons win that fight. They could potentially look for a fire giant here as well. Qiwen does not have ultimate available. VoteNBK is probably the only one that could really look to help defend this. Sanjo doesn't have ultimate, but I think that should be up relatively soon here. This is a risky play from Myrmidons, but maybe they're looking for picks. Oh yes they are. Goodbye Qiwen, sweet prince.
On the bottom side, VoteNBK going to be taken out by LeMoGoW as well, who dashes away from Sanjo, who tried to show up and help out his teammate. Dashing forward is Jermain. Quick mez, followed up by a basic. He's disarmed now, and that could be trouble. Here comes help from the Bacchus. Stun going to miss. Sanjo takes out
Sanjo.
Jermain.
Good work,
Sanjo's
Sanjo.
left surrounded by two. Tynz can't find the basics.
Really good
Tynz
work,
can't find the
Sanjo.
basics. Tynz can't find the basics. He finally takes him out with a bladed arrow, but it took a little bit too long.
Sanjo made that work huge for the team as well. One thing to note, LeMoGoW 1v1 VoteNBK then. VoteNBK had ultimate available and he had beads up and somehow got deleted. Don't know how that happened. The beads were used, but right at the end when he was about to die, Finno Evil though on Fexez beads, backflip used, leap after from the monkey with a somersault, slowed down, in hands from Fexez are keeping him alive a little bit. Aegis is only going to allow LeMoGoW to close the gap. The crocodile is here, but there's not a lot he could do in response to his teammate falling.
Yeah, the Aegis was used. There was a use. The Aegis was used just to see if Covertactician could make it to the situation. If there's a Sobek, all of a sudden there's a tail whip, there's a charge prey, it's a 1v1. You can maybe eke out some time and wait for your cooldowns to come back up. Unfortunately, Aegis going to last just a hair too short.
And all game, JusTus have been in control, but look at what the tower situation is now. Tier 1 falls in mid lane, that evens that one up. Tier 1 in the right-hand lane fell earlier. Tier 2 in the right-hand lane fell earlier for Myrmidons as well. So they're getting more global gold. The Gold Fury is the only difference here, and we'll see if that makes an impact when that respawns. Or whether Myrmidons will look for a cheeky fire giant attempt again, because last one baited in a fight that didn't go as well as they were hoped for, but they still got a couple of kills.
This game is still all but tied. 54,000 gold across the board for both teams, really. So anything.
Dardez could be in a bit of trouble here if they get the flop off. Has he got flop available? I guess not, because that's why they were looking at him. Goes to the wall wisely. Oh no, Sanjo going deep for this one. Eagles rally used to try and pick up a support player. LeMoGoW and Tynz are there to support him now, and Qiwen comes in. They're still looking for the Bacchus. Bacchus makes them more drunk, and now LeFales is trying to punish their transgressions and beat them back.
LeFales, the savior. He's even going to pick up a kill for this. It looks like Jermain finishes it off. VoteNBK takes him out, but Jermain gets another kill onto Qiwen. Covertactician trying to help and do what he can.
Oh, Lord.
All of a sudden, Fexez being focused by the Apollo. Top side, Tynz being focused by NBK. Here comes LeFales one more time.
Ooh.
Savior once, savior twice. The monkey has been saving everybody. Make that 3 separate times that LeFales has shown up to help his team.
JusTus just threw that fight. It was a great performance from Myrmidons. No discredit to them at all, but we saw Sanjo.
Bladed arrow. Kills it. Or hail of arrow.
Ask him a question.
Can he land it? Tynz doesn't decide to go for it. No faith in his own abilities.
Oh!
There it is, the
Yes,
1-2
faith.
punch. Ullr with the combination onto Fexez.
At least he found it this time. That would have looked terrible if he didn't, because Fexez could have killed him with one spirit arrow.
Which is why he was so timid. He could have went for it blind around the wall, but he was careful because he knows if Tynz goes ahead and he goes and shows his face and misses that, spirit arrow goes through a wall, Hindu man. He's going to get smoked. Tynz was careful about it, and then takes the opportunity when he's confident he can land it.
Gold Fury went to Myrmidons there while that went on. Also, I want to go back to that whole fight and how JusTus just pretty much just got destroyed in that whole engagement. They committed for Bacchus. They tried to pick him. He goes over the wall. Sanjo uses ultimate to chase. They still don't find the kill. Qiwen then joins the chase onto the Bacchus again. Bacchus gets him drunk, and finally, when they realize he's potentially going to die, because probably all the way through that, Dardez like, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. I'm in trouble. And immediately, probably as soon as he said that, LeFales jumps in, fear no evil, fight breaks out, turns around, 2 members deleted very early on in the fight, or a low health that they can't contest, and that swings it in Myrmidons' favor.
Now, I want to get into JusTus's head just a little bit here, Hindu man, because we are sort of Yes, they focused almost everything onto Dardez, the Bacchus, but by reason of Bacchus has sort of what I mentioned before, his incredible ability to go ahead and take out objectives, especially steal. So if you take out the Bacchus, it's almost a free gold fury.
I mean, true, but you
right?
can't, if he uses the belly flop to get away to a safer location, you don't chase him all the way through when his team's around him.
Exactly. And that's just the thought process behind it. But unfortunately, JusTus, they spend a little too much, they lose the team fight. Myrmidons are able to take a fire giant, and now they're coming down the mid lane. Jermain just takes out Qiwen already. Tynz takes out another one. Sanjo is going to fall to the hand of LeMoGoW. It's already a 3-for-0. Fire giant is providing Myrmidons everything they need in this situation. Jermain picks up his second kill. And this is a much smaller window than Myrmidons had last time around, Hindu Man. This time, LeFales going to claim the life of the last remaining member. They're going to pick up a tower, a Phoenix, and looking at the cooldown timers on these players, 20+ seconds for Qiwen. That's another Titan. Congratulations, Myrmidons. They're keeping their dreams alive.
There was 2 dreams coming into this, and only one was going to leave it, and it's Myrmidons that have the win. They've got to face Dignitas next week now to the boys of Myrmidons. They have to face Team Dignitas. If they can 2-0 Dignitas in the regular season, we'll get a fantastic best of 1 series for the tiebreaker.
It'll be fun. It's going to be exciting. I can't wait to check that one out. It's, you know, I just don't even know what direction that these two teams are going to go in.
What, between Myrmidons and Dig now?
Yeah.
I still would have favored Dignitas so far, but the Myrmidons, if they can perform like that, they'll be okay.
Exactly. Myrmidons turned it up to a different level here, combined with Dardez and Jermain.
Like exciting dreams, right? That's the big thing. We like the success stories. That's why everyone loved Titan last year.
Yeah, you know, a little bit.
Imagine the Myrmidons, French team, come in the final split just like Titan did. 7th in the SPL all season long, not like Titan did. Then, final game of the season, win the tiebreaker coming to LAN. Then have to face off against the very cream of Europe, and they defeat Epsilon.
All right. I mean, that's the dream, man. I don't know if it's going to work out that way. We'll take a look.
Faith in the French, after.
We'll take a look. Sanjo started things off in the jungle with the first blood, coming out with that hot Bellona.
It was a hot Bellona. Let's be honest, Sanjo made a lot of plays with that. I feel it was an impact in one of the biggest mistakes in the game, though, for the team as well. I've got to say that too. That play that they chased Dardez swung the game completely in the other way.
Exactly.
But that first blow was a good play from the whole team.
And that was interesting because that was a counter initiation.
It was indeed.
That fight was started by Myrmidons, and then you take a look, and what immediately happened was Myrmidons started the fight, but then immediately you saw the follow-up come out of Sanjo. Very smart play coming out of him, and we saw that a couple of times. I wouldn't be surprised to see him on our Alpha Draft top performers, but as we take a gander at those players, I think they might just be Myrmidons.
Back and forwards. I expect Tynz, LeFales, Dardez, Fexez, and finally Qiwen. So 2 members of JusTus do get on there.
Yeah, a little bit of a mix-up right there, and that I think really spells the story of these two teams. We saw a lot of Myrmidons obviously won, and I think they wound up playing better. Sometimes we see the team that doesn't play better wind up with the win, but I think Myrmidons earned their 2 wins here. But it wasn't easy, and a lot of what JusTus did was very calculated and very strong.
Here's the big difference is when you look at the pro team, when I say pro teams, I mean the higher level teams in terms of the top 2-3 teams over in Europe, you'll see them dominate the alpha draft at the end of a win. Whereas the lower end teams, they generally shout with their opposition, which means they're much highly contested because they're not easy wins ever.
Exactly. It's all about the relative strength, and you want to talk about relative strength. Tynz really came out and was playing relatively strong, comparatively speaking to the rest of his squad. 7-3-12 for the mid lane Ullr.
I actually feel he should have got MVP for game 1, and this one probably not. Personally, he missed a couple of abilities here that he'll know himself. We're like, oh damn! But his rotations were good. His pick choice was very correct to go against the Neith as well and put the pressure back on the mid lane. And then eventually, you said he found the 1-2 combos after a while, which is good.
Yeah, I mean, he really made it happen right here. This is the one we were talking about. He waited for the perfect opportunity. Could have gone for it here, but knew if he shows his face and misses, it's curtains for him. So he waits, makes it look like he's gone.
He's got the range lead.
And then pop!
That's all it was. He had the range advantage, which was the big difference between those two, trading that one out. And I think Fexez just wanted to take the gamble. I'd have taken that gamble too. But you got to land them both, and you missed one earlier, so let's go.
Yeah, it was Tynz all the time, really, coming out for Myrmidons. Jermain, big part of that as well. Still Jermain and Dardez still showed up. This was a team victory for Myrmidons.
It was. It was the first time we've seen the roster in a little while beat the whole complete team. So they can walk into that in Dignitas against Dignitas with their full roster, we should have some interesting games next week.
So we keep mentioning this game. Why don't we break it down a little bit? Myrmidons are going to go in with their roster versus Dignitas. I mean, where do you think do Myrmidons? Dignitas is largely, I mean, they're the higher seeded team. Do you think Myrmidons have? Where do you think Myrmidons have the best shot? What part of their team do they have to milk in order to earn this victory?
Realistically, the composition of Dignitas have put together this season have had a good performance, but their strength really lies from what I've seen and the season's gone on in the mid and jungle roles is where their strength really lies. So potentially play safe in those areas from the side of the Myrmidons. Tynz is able to hold his own. I can see he's getting there slowly but surely. In the jungle, fails backwards and forwards with him for the most part, but he should be able to be relatively safe. Maybe just take away the Thor from Frostiak if they want to try and make this run happen. And the big play should probably be from the duo lane. We've got to look at the Bruise brothers up against Renz and Frezzy, who they've been together for the whole this split, but they've not necessarily had the best performances, those two. They're starting to get there as well as the whole of Dignitas are, but that's, I think, is the potential opportunity to expose. I think you're right in LeMoGoW. I think that'll be just a farm fest for the most part.
Yeah, I think it'll be an interesting situation. I actually am going to put a couple more chips onto the jungle. I think LeFales can really do some work. We saw specific sort of injections into fights where LeFales made things. I think we can, if LeFales really works out, I think that that'll be a problem for Dignitas. Let's take a look at the standings and see how things have changed. Myrmidon's still in this spot, but it's about the 2-game separation between them and Dig.
Yeah, 2-game separation indeed. 26 games played for Epsilon at the top. And most teams are starting to round out with 26 games, as you'd expect, coming into the final week. There's no games left in Europe now, so everyone has pretty much either played all the games they're going to play, or they've got
10.
They've got week 10 left to come, which is a shorter week, take into account it's not a full week of SPL action because some of the teams have already played all their games already. Yeah,
it's a shorter week. Up on top, Epsilon confirmed, finished, done, finito. They're number 1. They're going to land in that 1 seed. North America, a little bit different. That's under that's.
Oh, no. Confirmed now. Confirmed that the boys of Envy have made number 1 based off Eager's performance yesterday.
Right.
Eager dropping those games meant that Envy made it through. Number 1.
Such exciting stuff. I mean, all across the board. So Europe, no slouch either. Myrmidons keeping their dreams alive. Very excited to see week number 10. That's where all the answers are going to be had as far as who's going to land and who's not.
Yeah, and now obviously we're going to be going over to North America later on today as well. We're going to see 2 teams that are currently sat in 6-6 position, and then obviously there's one in 7th that's still trying to vie.
Yeah, so the matches we're going to take a look at later on are going to be Cloud9 Team Solo Mid and Cognitive versus Elevate. Both games really have big implications. We'll take a look at them. Coming up next is going to be Cloud9 versus Team Solo Mid. Stay tuned. We'll bring that game to you in a heartbeat.
That you would call your friend, if not a